What art are you arting? I'll be drawing some pieces, some sort of concept art for a TTRPG world that I am building, and a fictional world that I am building at the moment. Sort of in the realm of like Norse dystopia, so something like if you took the Horizon games and made them Viking, that's what we're going for. We'll be starting the art soon. I'm just getting everything sort of together. What about anime bosoms? There will be no anime bosoms here, my friend. If you are looking for anime bosoms, you will be most disappointed here. So let's jump over to our art screen now, and I'll just need to set. Why is my camera not there? You need to go on. Why is Balthazar not there? So we need to swap this to which Samsung Flow is it? It's this one. Yay. Okay. So we have a Samsung Flow.
Am I working? Did you turn me on, Master?
Yes. Well, I mean, I allowed you to speak. Hex, if you want pizza order now, I'll pay. Chat is becoming a family message service. Imagine opening a stream that allows people to message each other. There's a couple of things I want to design at the moment. The Valkyrie, the generic like soldier's armor, and also the other one I've had on my mind recently is the Loki Grima, which are sort of assassins, or these like almost mythical assassins. Speaking of art stream, That's too much. Oh, it didn't turn me off again. It's gonna turn these off. Hold on a second. I don't understand why it does that. Just let me know when this turns off, and I'll turn myself and Balthazar back on. I have to check BikuBot to see what I've done wrong. You have a PNG tuber. Yes, I figured out how to turn Balthazar into me. Balthazar learned possession magic, exactly. And he has decided that he is only ever going to practice it on me. Generally just to get a sort of a what do you call it, like a sort of a template down to start with, and then maybe if we get there by the end of the stream, we can do like a quick action sort of sketch. It's funny that whoever it was before that was talking about anime bosoms, boobs are one of the things that I have just so often just struggled to draw. I don't know what it is, but Jesus Christ. For my favorite holiday, I made a series of free motes. And have just been drawing all the spooky things. Those are cool. That's awesome. Hell yeah. I've really enjoyed drawing emotes, mainly just because it's... You don't have to be quite so detailed with them, which I find very cool, very freeing. I feel like it's been more than 5 minutes, and Balthazar is still here. But also, that's okay. Do not know. Anyway, we'll deal with that later. Sorry I interrupted you. You were talking about boobs. I prefer Dino, but I need a picture model. Don't we all? Yelling because you were trying to freehand draw muscles. Just a little bit. Sometimes muscle. I've actually never struggled too much with that. I'm usually pretty good with that. But yeah, it's, it's one of those things, and it's what... This is a discussion that me and my buddies have had. One of my buddies, especially because he is also an artist and a creative and all that sort of stuff, is I think there's a lot of people, and like one of the main things I always hear is, oh, I wish I could draw, or I wish I could draw. And he just said it best, where he basically turned around and said, no, you wish that you could make any art piece you wanted for free. Or, from your brain. Because you don't care about the process, you care about the product. Anyone can draw. It's fairly rare that there is a person out there that quite literally cannot, and I mean without anything, cannot draw. I can't draw a picture from my mind. Oh, yeah, that's a common thing. There's a word for it. I forget what it's called. But again, that's also, in a lot of cases, that's practice. Like that's, you know, working and understanding how things work. There's a lot of ways that I'm probably, you know, not doing the right thing here. That is way too much arse. Aphantasia, that's the one, because I not too long ago realized that my wife has it, because she was asking me about it, and she was saying, like, when you think of this, she was like, if you picture an apple, what do you see? I'm like, I see an apple. And yeah, so she has the aphantasia thing. My theory, anyone can learn to draw. It comes more naturally for some, but it's usually those that find enjoyment in the process. Exactly. If you don't enjoy it, you won't prove. There was the line that my dad always used, and he used it in kind of a dickish way, but it also kind of rings true in a lot of ways. He always said, if you wanted to do it, you'd do it. Which I don't agree with in a lot of ways, but I do agree with it, like with drawing and with any sort of, like, people forget, like, drawing is a talent, but talents are learnable. It's a skill, shall we say. It's a skill. A skill is learnable, just in the same way that your brain is wired to be better with maths, or better with visuals, or better with the written word. Your brain can be better to equip to work with art and with how things work. Like, for instance, Philbrush, just because he's, you know, our sort of connecting factor. Jazza, like Jazza's brain, I have no idea how that man's brain works, because I can draw. I can 100% draw, but you put any other art medium in front of me and I struggle. I struggle so hard, and yet that man just picks up whatever and it's just like, yes, I can do something with this. He's amazing. Are his feet too big or is his head too small? I think both. Feet too big, I think. Maybe just legs are a bit too big. I'm really bad with legs. Feet a little bit too big. Is he dwarven? See, this is the problem I have. See, I really struggle with the whole concept of, like, proportion is one of the hardest thing I struggle with. Do I just need to make his body a bit longer? Maybe? Jazza's ability to commonly learn a medium super quick makes me a little envious, but I tend to personally not like the messy medium, so stick to digital ones. Yeah. Alright, let's try this out. Hold on, because maybe I just need to... There we go. I reckon that's what it was. Is that better? That is much better, yeah. Yeah, one of the wooden people model things and sketch it till your proportions become more second nature. Yeah. Fair. Probably should do that. Not gonna, but I should. There we go. That's much better. Dragon be like, yeah, but nah. I am constantly like, yeah, but nah. Elbows lined up with the rib cage. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So to be about right. I stand here doing weird poses so I can figure out where my body lies. We had a love-hate relationship, yeah. Anyone that is trying to... I think that's the sign, in my mind, of a... That is the sign of a good teacher. If someone can teach you something that is generally annoying, and you don't end up hating them entirely, that is a fantastic space to be in, because that's a good teacher, because that's something they're like... They know how hard it is, but at the same time, they're like, hey, I know this is hard, but you've got to do it. Pectorals tucked under the shoulder muscle, so it should be more... The chest too high? I almost never draw now. Yeah, it's been a while since I drew. The muscle from the armpit will build over the... And then down here. All of this is also mostly superfluous, considering I'm just about to, but it's good to have the general idea of where everything goes. Oh, which pen? Pencil! Give me the pencil! I started a life drawing class quite a few years back, then got sick and missed too many, so didn't go back. Oh, that's rough. But let's draw hands, shall we? Head to fingies. Thumb's not big enough, but that's fine. That would be quite handy. I see what you did there. Just going to be our template to do our various, he says, having spent like an hour and a half on it. What I picture it being, this is just the basic soldier stuff. And again, we're going for a dystopia thing here. But what I imagine it being is a similar version to either like Gears Armour or this one. What's his name again? That's the thing though, is the AI that they're designing at the moment will replace all the things that people want to do so that people will go back to doing menial jobs. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Which would be dumb, exactly. Bye. No, thank you. Not about that. All good. It was a great... you have a good day now. There was a great post I saw a while back, and it was like, I want AI to do my dishes and laundry so I can focus on my art, not do my art so I can focus on my dishes and laundry. So yeah, it's very dumb, extremely dumb. But if I download it here, it's not gonna. To give you an idea, actually, I can just put it up here. What am I doing? I have a lot of very strong opinions about AI art. AI generated images, as I generally enjoy calling it. This is a sort of the vibe I imagine it being, if you can see that properly. I do love that I was all like, no, I can see it now, and it doesn't show me it at all. But let me just bring it up. Because I want that sort of Armour style, but I want to make it a bit less tribal. But let's sketch out a couple of ideas here. Let's just go with some basic stuff. And also, we're just gonna do the torso for this bit, so we can. I know we just drew all of it, but let's. So we can do like just go full concept art with this. There's another Max Exodus on Twitter /X if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, no, the first thing I did, when I realized it was all going on, like, don't get me wrong, my art's not great. But the first thing I did when I found out about all like Meta and Twitter and all that sort of stuff is I completely stripped my artwork from any social media. Because, yeah, screw that. And people's attitude towards it is foul. I've been seeing a lot, and look, I don't want to open this can of worms on my stream because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have a lot of strong feelings about it. But the two things I've seen a lot that show me exactly the mindset of people who use AI-generated images were Akira Toriyama and Chester Bennington. But the Akira Toriyama one, I did a video about it because I saw, of course, as we all know, he passed away not too long ago. And one of the things that I was hugely dismayed by was seeing a lot of people on like TikTok and all that doing like memorial posts of him using AI generated images of Dragon Ball Z characters. Now, why this upset me so much, or why this affected me so much, was the fact that Akira Toriyama, if you go and look into his history and look into his life and his work and all that sort of stuff, he dedicated a large amount of his life to teaching people to draw, to teaching people to make animations, to make comics, to make manga. And one of the best posts I saw, the best memorial posts I saw, was a bunch of memorial messages from people he had taught, from his students. They all referred to him as sensei, and they all shared these really beautiful messages about how they inspired him and how they would do everything just to please him and to get his approval. And some of them went on to do amazing things. Like, some of them went on to do, I think one of them is the guy who made Bleach. There was another who went on to do later seasons, like successor seasons of Dragon Ball. And it was really, really cool to see. And to think about that, and then think about the fact that there were so many people using AI-generated images just because they were like, no, we want to show Goku at his funeral. We want to show, you know, Vegeta and Gohan and all that crying around a grave and all that. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Oh, I will say really quickly with Akira, I don't know, it's what I pointed out in the video. I know you can't really see, but this piece, I'll jump back over to the just chatting screen real quick. This piece here, if you are not following the dude, go onto Instagram and do it now. His name's Warwick Wong. He is an Australian artist. He does anime and manga inspired artwork. He does fantastic art pieces. This one, it's a very cool. It's almost like a watercolor style painting of all of the Dragon Ball characters. They're all in there, and Akira Toriyama's in it too. And I saw it at Supernova last year or earlier this year, and I'd been looking for something because, as you may pick up from my art style, Dragon Ball was a huge influence for me growing up. Like, it was Dragon Ball and Pokemon was how I learned how to draw. Like, that was what I wanted to draw. Awesome. I love it. I love it so much. It struck me so viscerally in the moment. I'm like, I have to get it. I have to. And he's a really chill dude as well. He's a really, really cool dude. And that was a really important moment for me, seeing that, because I was like, I'd been looking for a way to honor Akira, and that was a really cool find. Again, the other one that I see a lot of, and this is the one that really nails it for me, the reason a lot of people talk about AI, beyond the people who are just like, oh, but it's easy and it's free. It's like, yeah, but it's theft. The other thing that came up recently, and I know this might be poking the hornet's nest here, was talking about Chester Bennington. For those of you who do not know, I don't know if there's anyone here who would, Linkin Park recently made their return with a new lead singer. Now, this has obviously stirred up a lot of upset surrounding the community, because I mean, it's replacing Chester Bennington. It's a touchy subject, which I think the band handled really well. However, a lot of people think they didn't. I mean, she's not Chester, but she was never meant to be. But a lot of people have taken to suggesting that they could have just used AI Chester Bennington as a lead singer. Even some people going on and remaking the songs online, Emily's songs with Chester Bennington, AI Chester Bennington vocals, which to me suggests that, like, if you don't like Emily, you don't like Emily. That's fine. That's cool. Like, you're allowed to not like Emily. But if you are fighting this on account of a dead man, and you are suggesting in that case using the AI voice of a dead man to continue the voices, to continue the songs, you're not fighting for Chester. You're fighting for yourself. You are literally just fighting for the case of going, I don't have to deal with the fact that Chester's dead anymore. I like the new stuff. It just doesn't hit the same as OG Linkin Park. Whole new band, not a continuation. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways they are. I mean, we're all different people now. You know, it's like, it's interesting when people, but to me, it's hearing people turn around and say like, oh, it's not Linkin Park anymore, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how many times have we said that though? I'm pretty sure every band that came out after Meteora, there's been a bunch of people being like, no, this isn't Linkin Park anymore. Think about the amount that Slipknot has changed over the years. It's got very serious, and I apologize for that. We'll get back to the usual shenanigans momentarily. Yeah, like, bands change. People change, and like, yes, you know, Chester's response is, Chester's, you know, departure was a tricky one to navigate. But at the same time, it's in any situation like that, I've always looked at it and just gone, well, I haven't always looked at it that way, but like, 100%, it's just kind of like using AI in that... Sorry, didn't mean to bother you, princess. Jesus. I'm gonna put you on the couch. Hold on. Yep. But I think it was like, especially told with Akira, it's like, why, like with Toriyama, this is a person that has dedicated their life, all of their effort and energy to the continuation of creativity and the artistic process. Why the hell would you honor that person with AI? Like, something that is not only belittling the artist experience, but stealing from it as well. It is insulting. But yeah, before I get too heated and upset somebody, what's another topic we can discuss? But it's interesting as well, like realizing Akira's death was one that I remember hearing about, and it hit me really hard. Like, it was right up there in my mind with, you're not already too heated. I'm not offended, totally agree. No. It is something that I know there's a lot of thoughts on. I do think there is a place for AI. There is a place for AI in the world. We just need to make sure that it is heavily policed, heavily, what's the word, not legalized, but legislated before it gets into the corporate and creative world. Yes, that every time that people are like, we're going to do AI with everything. I'm like, have we ignored every sci-fi movie from the last 20 years? Like, the last 50 years? Like, seriously. How do you not realize that this is a terrible idea? But yeah, the place I see it good at the moment is allowing a game character to appear alive and respond intelligently. And then there are technical things I know nothing about. It is a massive topic. And I think the issue is much like a lot of things with humanity. We have introduced the technology before we have explored it. What am I hating about this? We're just gonna keep it because it's just so we're just mucking around with it at this stage. Using chat to be. Fear is AI taking over. If commerce uses it, greed will dominate comments. Exactly. Like, that's the issue that we now have already, in the sense that, who was it? You know, like, how's it going? We've already had, in that's the issue when you look at it and go, fucking sorry, I'm late as balls. That's all good. We've just been chilling out. My concern, as it has already been shown, is, say, like Wizards of the Coast, so the esteemed creators of Dungeons and Dragons, have already been caught using it multiple times, even after, in fact, especially after firing a bunch of their creative staff. Because why would you draw it? Why would you hire a team of people to draw it when you can just get AI to draw it and then have one or two people, touch up correction things? Yeah? The not so esteemed, you mean? Yeah. There was a surge of kids using it to write their uni dissertations. Now they all been failed. There was a guy who won like an art contest a while back. He won like an art contest recently and then got upset, but he won it with AI art and then got upset because people were stealing his artwork. I'm like, buddy, it's not yours. Man who said it was okay for leopards to eat people's faces gets upset when leopards eat his face. It's no fun being an adult. I had a moment today that I got very angry at because I was walking across the schoolyard that I work at and my knee twinged. For no reason. Nothing happened. Yeah, I hated that. That was not okay. That was not okay. That was an attack on me, I feel, personally. You want to go outside, do you? You need to pee? Hold on. It's the funniest thing. I was actually saying this today. No one I've heard of has ever hurt themselves doing something cool. I have a friend of mine. He's an older dude. And as far as I know, he has done every martial art under the sun. He's done like traditional martial arts, like really intense. He did traditional Muay Thai, which, if you don't know, is a cardio workout. Like, it is a very intense workout. He was talking about like the warm up for this. He vomited and he watched two other guys pass out, and then they were like, cool, now we start training. He told me, he's never been injured through martial arts training, never been seriously injured. He threw his back out picking up a prawn off the ground at a barbecue. That just I lost all faith in anything in that moment. Let me tell you what, the 2-day hangovers are just unnecessary. Does this shit just happen at 20 onwards? Basically, it's like every year, every 10 years, you have to renew a membership, and yeah, it just adds extra perks. Knees are pretty early on. Back. I have this shoulder blade. This shoulder blade at the back will go at the drop of a hat. It'll just completely, and it screws up everything because all of it's connected. So neck on this side, back, leg, all of it. I don't get hangovers anymore. What do you mean you don't get hangovers anymore? I get 2-day hangovers. Unless you are just living in a state of hungover at this stage. I don't believe that. I've just noticed that I haven't rubbed out the feet properly on these, and that has amused me greatly. That's because you don't drink anymore. Yeah, that would do it. I saw a post that said after 25 we get bonus dealt it as more like broken patches that make everything glitch. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mostly stopped drinking when I started getting 2-day hangovers. Yeah. I've noticed recently sugar content of drinks messes me up more than the alcohol does as far as hangovers go. Like, I can get drunk, like, because I know this, because, like, getting drunk on, like, beer, like Guinness or something like that, or just straight bourbon or straight whiskey, and I'll wake up and I'll be hungover, but usually give me, you know, a bucket of fried chicken and, you know, a bunch of water and some hydrolyte, and I'm fine by, you know, at most 3 p.m. But if I'm, like, drinking mixes, so, like, drinking Coke, especially, like Jack and Coke or Bourbon and Coke, whatever, I get the worst hangovers. They are actually hell. I have a left shoulder strain, left shoulder dislocation, left thumb fracture. You need to start using the right side of your body, man. Yeah, well, I'm delicate, so that will definitely, yeah, absolutely. Dude, play some Ailstorm. Pirate Metal is the best. Pirate Metal is the best. I am, however, trying to not get my account copyright struck. So all of the bands and all the music I've picked on here are bands that I have looked up and have confirmed that they will not be copyright striking anyone who uses their music. I need to get an art tablet and, once again, a better desk. I saw recently that Huion bringing out a new Canva Pro tablet, the Canva Pro 19, and it looks awesome. They're looking to get one at one point, so if anyone has any connections with Huion, please give them a call. Yeah, so you may know Mari, my good friend Jazza, he swears by them. So I contacted him because I was originally looking at an XP pen tablet, but then when I was like, oh, wait a minute, why don't I just ask Jazza? Because I was sort of like, do I, you know, go the extra bit and get a Wacom, or do I just do whatever? And yeah, contacted him, and he was straight away just like, Huion, 100%. Don't muck around with it. Just go Huion. He did mention at the time, he was like, I messaged him and he's like, oh, if you want I can't remember if it was the 11 or the 13, that he was like, if you want something compact, he says if you want something more studio based, get the 24. Having seen the 24, the absolute beast that is the 24 at his studio, I mean, it's great, but I have no room for it. Whereas I think the 19 looks like it'll be more in that sort of smaller, slightly smaller. I'll have to do a proper little measure up and make sure that it'll all fit. But yeah, I would fucking love one of them. I was tempted by Wacom, then my local secondhand electronics shop got the Huion in. I read about this, so it told me it was effectively brand new, so I got it like, oh, nice. So glad I saw it. Yeah. From what I understand, Wacom, the trouble is, like, Wacom are good, but they charge for it. Whereas Huion, from what I've seen and from what I understand, they are good, but they still charge reasonably. But yeah, Wacom, from what I understand, they do really good. But I think also I've heard a lot of people talk about the main issue with Wacom is that they're quite temperamental and can be fragile. And when I say fragile, I don't mean like they don't bounce. I mean that they, you know, there's like bumps and other things that can lead to real issues. But yeah, maybe I'll have a. Again, I don't have. Maybe I might wait a bit because I don't have any kind of money for that right now. And I do need to get a bigger desk. My main aim was to find a tablet that displayed it on the tablet. Yeah, I had to do that as well. I tried really hard. A mate of mine gave me one of the drawing pads. It was the Wacom Bamboo, one of the old ones. He had one that he'd been using, and he gave me that, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure it out. I could not get it to work. Like, I couldn't get the hang of it. But then, and I thought, oh well, I'm not good at digital art. That's fine. Whatever, blah blah blah. And then I got this. Like, this is just a, for those of you who weren't here for the who didn't see it last time, this is just a little like Samsung Tab S6. No, I couldn't get a drawing that was in any way comprehensible. About the quality of my Wacom Cintiq, it's terrible resolution for today's computing, and it just needs upgrading, but it's too expensive to stick with Wacom. Oh, absolutely. I have a picture of a Togepi I drew on one of those tablets without looking, and it's one of the most haunted Togepis I've ever seen. Apple is not user-friendly. I still had it on my phone, just posted in DC. I will look into that. It's really weird to be watching Pirates of the Caribbean, specifically the part where they release Calypso while listening to Dragon, have tech troubles. I'm not having tech troubles. I use iPad Pro also with Procreate, but I prefer a big screen, way more comfortable. Oh yeah. I think that's the main thing, like very much looking forward to if I can get a larger screen. All right, let's look at this again. Seems to just be like a little, which makes a lot more sense actually. Which Procreate was an Apple exclusive. What app do you use, Murray, if I may ask? Because there's a couple of good art programs out there. I'm using a combination of Photoshop, Critter, Inkscape, and now learning Adobe Fresco. Oh, cool. Yeah, no. So you do, mainly as though like you are aware of Critter. Critter's the main one that I've introduced to a few people who were very excited to have something like this for free. Speaking of which, for anyone watching here, the program I'm using is called Critter, Krita. It's a free art program available on, I believe it's on both Apple and Android, as well as just Windows and Mac. And it's a really great program, and it's a really great free program, and not only, if you go online, you can find a bunch of free brush packs for it, which are all very, very cool, and made by one of the guys who made the program, so very cool. I used to use Photoshop and Illustrator exclusively, but my little MacBook has finally been retired for about 13 years. Now having to find free alternatives for them, yeah. I was about to ask you about brushes. I wasn't sure where to look for Critter brushes. Let me just remind myself. That's the link where I got all of my brushes. All the brushes that I use. I haven't really used a lot of them. But they've given me the main ones that I use. But there's also the Critter website has a few of them as well. I use Photoshop, but I'm trying to move over to Clip Studio Paint on the PC yet. Luckily, I have an old Windows install for Photoshop, so I'm forever stuck on CS6, but I don't have to pay the yeah, absolutely. And that was the thing, like, I'm working in a public school at the moment, and there was one of the kids who'd been using, as you would say, sort of like their public or the school version of Photoshop, shall we say? And obviously she graduated this year, and so someone was like, oh, she's really struggling because of this, and so I was like, why doesn't she just use Critter? So I introduced her to Critter, and she was very, very thankful for that. I feel like it's so close to being something. Right. What if we did like a... I feel like this is all just going to end with me drawing just Gears of War armor. What if we tried something like this? Hold on. The, looking like teeth. What if we put another one on there? What am I struggling with here? What do I want? I think this one's my favorite so far. Maybe we can mix that one with this one a bit. What you drawing? We're in the process of designing some the armor for the Midgardian military. Just general sort of soldiers. For my book and for my TTRPG setting. But yeah, that's good. Yeah, just been chilling out, doing some drawing. We'll probably finish up pretty soon. We've done a bit of progress. I think this one might be the closest to what I'm looking for. Definitely think we're onto something with this one. So I think this one's, yeah, this is definitely on the right path, I think. I'm just trying to figure out what I don't like about it. Armor for any armor, some questions to ask yourself while designing it. Can it be mass produced? That's sort of the idea I'm going for. Protection versus functionality, cost to mass produce, and can it still be varied to the individual shape? Yeah, the idea I was going for, sort of having, as in like tribal elements, I guess, but all like sort of that, you know, medieval armor ideals, but also having that similar sort of modern day organized military look. So hence it'd be, you've got essentially the breastplate, which is designed to cover, you know, the vitals, but then the rest of it's sort of like this like Kevlar suit, yeah? Or, you know, sort of, yeah, just general army uniform sort of thing. So I was thinking of having them be like, essentially they were going to be, essentially like lamella. So that'd be the idea. So then it'd be from there, and it would literally just be sort of like folds, essentially, and then greaves, and van braces, and maybe like pauldrons for certain units. But I think that's pretty close to what I'm looking at. What if we take... What sections do you need to be solid plate, and what would be... So, essentially, it'd be a case of... The trouble is, I've realized now, is that I've given the almost exact same design to the Valkyrie armor. So it would be... more or less... So essentially, this area and these would be lamella plating, so like overlapping plates, like splint mail, essentially. And then these areas would be essentially, yeah, Kevlar or... But that's pretty close, I think. Abdominal is okay to be splint mail too, it still allows the bend forwards. Yeah, but I also feel like it's kind of a... I could bring it down a bit, but I also like the idea that it's sort of like... Again, in that sort of mass-produced, like... I like the idea of it being like just the chest, or just down to sort of maybe just below the chest. As like a little sort of, you know, we're covering the essentially like the heart and lungs, but that's, you know, all the basic soldiers get. So you might get more like, the higher your rank is, the more armor you get. It's kind of what I thought you were going for, but yeah. But yeah, I think that's just got to figure out what's wrong. I'm gonna look at some lamella here. Maybe that's what I need to do. I guess it's also like, it's just basic armor, so it doesn't really need to be a, you know, particularly pretty, does it? It's made me look at one of my past and just immediately saw all the things I've done wrong. Dude. You can absolutely always see the things that you have done wrong with your own artwork. Every picture that I look at, every piece of art that I have done, I can look at and I can pick out 20 things that I did that I could have done better, that I'm not happy with. I was hoping to get sorry on this, but let's save that. I think it is definitely bedtime. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. This has been a lot of fun. I might do this more. Because I definitely need to do more art, more drawing. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this stream.